Hello, I'm going to keep the announcement short and quick as I don't want to interrupt your time too much. But over the past few days, I've been dropping these tiny little lores I'm messing around with, and some of you thought that I was either high as shit or I have completely lost my sanity, which I don't blame you whatsoever. But regardless, the reason I am doing this sort of lore bullshit I'm dropping is to raise an awareness about the game that I am working on. The name of the game as so far is called Humanity's Descent, taking place in a fictional US state in 2033. I won't really explain the story because you're gonna have to realize it yourselves. I don't want to spoil anything. But what I can say is it's a huge inspiration to the Prototype franchise before Activision pulled the fucking plug on them. So, but anyway, so imagine Prototype, but in first person with guns and classes, and the freedom of Fallout New Vegas, and the parkour style of Dying Light 2 and Spider-Man. It's a mouthful, I know, but this is sort of the type of gameplay style I want to focus on. But regardless. Anyway, I've been somewhat working on the game for the past few years. I wouldn't really say work because I have no skills on video game development or any sort of skills on programming whatsoever, but rather I have been writing the story and the atmosphere and the mechanics and the characters and etc. for a long time. I started writing the game around 2020, and the story and the characters themselves were extremely bare bones and boring. Like, nothing made sense and everything was just so simple and predictable. And the atmosphere and the story made zero sense whatsoever. So I had to sort of work on the atmosphere and the characters and everything to make it where it makes sense. And I finally did it. I want to add characters that are genuinely interesting. I don't want to add like characters that you can just immediately forget about like 5 seconds later. I want every character to have a specific feeling of like, oh wow, I remember this guy's all fucked up and shit, or I remember this guy because he's interesting, you know? I want to make every side character, even the main characters, like, so interesting. Like, I want to give them a specific personality where it makes them stand out to one another. But at the moment, I'm still writing everything all alone. I'm not getting any sort of help, I'm not getting any sort of, like, feedback from anyone. I'm writing all of these alone. And I'm hoping at this specific summer this year, I'm going to teach myself how to do some basic programming and game development. But I can't do it right now because school is fucking with my brain every day, so I just want to finish it and get away from it. So, yeah, now you know. I'm working on a game, sort of, if you want to call it work, but whatever. And I'm sort of hoping to release some lore facts later down the line. Because this week, I will begin releasing some lore about my game and what's exactly going on, but only to my YouTube members. You can join the YouTube members if you want, of course, and you can screenshot them if you want, but please don't copy the shit that I'm writing or any sort of like mechanics that I'm doing. Please, just don't fucking do it. You can screenshot them if you want and like just spread some awareness and show it to friends and family, whatever. Like, you can screenshot them, I don't really care, but like, understand this, please do not copy my work. For the love of God, just please do not copy anything. I've been working on this game since 2020, and I sort of want this game to come to life and actually be an actual thing. So please, like, you can screenshot it and show it to everyone else, and give feedback or say whatever, like, do whatever you want with it, but don't copy it, please. This is something that is dear to my heart. And I'm saying this with the bottom of my heart, even though I am a hypocrite sometimes. But keep in mind that I may or may not change these things later in the future unless I say that it's the finalized lore of something that I sent out. So, yeah. Secondly, I have a Patreon account so I can scam you. I mean, so you can support me with my game down in the comments. I'm just joking with you. I'm not really scamming anyone. I'm just fucking with you. But I'm innocent, trust me. I think. Forget about the criminal past I've done. Alright, just forget about that. But let's get serious. I have a Patreon. You can support me down in the comments if you want, of course, because I sort of want some bit of help in a way. Like, I want to work on this game alone, but there will be certain situations where I want someone else to sort of like help me with something. So I wouldn't really say I want to put a budget on the game, as you know, it's going to be a little bit too complicated. So yeah. But here's a bit of heads up on what lore I will be dropping this week. You might be curious. It's going to be the main villain faction in the game, nicknamed the Saviors. I'm not really going to say anything about them except be ready, but that is practically all I have to offer so far. So to keep it short, I'm still going to add some bits of lore to my YouTube members only. and I have a Patreon, and I'm hopefully going to be able to teach myself how to program and do some game development this summer. I genuinely appreciate all the support and love you guys are sending out, and it makes me happy, and I genuinely wish that the game I'm going to deliver is going to make you guys happy in years to come. This is a big project to me, and I want this game to sort of succeed. Well, not really succeed, but I want this game to make you guys happy. It's a game that just makes you turn off your brain and just play it however you want. Like, there's no right or wrong. Like, there's no like meta bullshit. Like, you can do whatever you want, essentially. So, but that is all I have. If you excuse me, I'm going to go back and work on my game. So, yeah. And I will be releasing the first lore tomorrow, so be prepared. And I'll see you gentlemen and ladies next time. Have a good day.
My name is Dr. Luke Henriksen, and this is my first ever log to be recorded. Personally, I enjoy working alone and in silence. However, my colleague Fred Angelico has been insisting me that I document my logs or any update. I may or may not lie. Now let us begin.
Doctor, I don't mean to delay the operation any further, but don't you think it's a smart idea to give a title or context on what we will be doing on each of these logs?
Very well. For today's procedure, we will be attempting to pierce through the subject's body yet again. Reason being the patient's body seems rather unpenetrable, regardless of what tools we use. We have attempted to at least break through the body with a pickaxe that we took from one of our peasants. But the result leads to a lack of success. Eventually, we decided to call in our bridge team and attempt to break it via a drill or thermite, but surprisingly, it had no effect on it whatsoever. The body remains untouched. There are no scratches or any sort of additional damage to the body. Strangely enough, before we began, all of the scars around the patient remained as if nothing happened. We are unsure of what is the cause of this, but one thing we noticed once they brought in the body was the vein had a much more distinct color than any normal human being. Dr. Fred, can you please describe the vein's different color to the audio log, please? As you know, I have tritanophobia.
Of course, Doctor. The patient's veins does not appear to be blue like the usual rest of us human beings, but instead it has a more darker silver color to it. We are also unable to see what is the patient's blood type or be able to perform any experiments, mainly due, like Dr. Luke said, we cannot simply pierce through it and it is physically impossible to do so.
I never said it was possible, Dr. Fred. Do not make the same mistake before you know what happened to the patient 08 because of your ignorance and negligence. I will tolerate this behavior or any sort of failure. Do you understand me? Shut off that audio log right now at this instant.
But Doctor, this could assist us along the way. What if it's...
Enough! You will shut it off right now!
There. Happy now?
The only reason patient 0 escaped is because of your ignorance and your lack of care to it. If only you had the ability to hold it, we would have been able to contain the patient.
Doctor, with all due respect, but the patient was an extremely mutated and enhanced human being. Either I died right there, or risk me and other colleagues to be killed by that. I had to leave. Do you understand that?
Then you should have died there, you worthless being. We are done. Do not speak of this again to anyone else, and do not record any more audio logs again.